We should be live, baby. We are. We are, in fact, live, I think. We are. How's everyone doing? Let me
I'm good.
share this with. I got Abraham with me, who actually does not make many appearances for our live streams. So it's a gift and a privilege for his attendance. And he is one of our mentors at MBT. I gotta send this. Mm, I gotta let Discord know that we're live streaming for a bit, just in case they want to participate. And I'm here, not really going to be trading much into the close. We're making some good profits, so we'll kind of go over some stuff in the market here. I want to make some comments on a few things that people have been saying. Before I get into that, I do want to just quickly, people for watching this on the, I really got to stop saying I'm trying to work on it. I'm trying not to so much. I want to encourage people to check out the newsletter if you haven't before. I wrote a good one yesterday, and now it's like standing out to me how much I'm saying I'm spiraling. Hey, Abraham, go check out the newsletter. It's good. People like it a lot, and you might too. So check it out. It's free to subscribe. If you hate it, you can unsubscribe, right? And you can send me an angry DM or leave a mean comment. And that's what we love, right? We all love to hate watch, and I am no different. And if there's one person that I love to hate right now, it's Michael Burry. This idiot's burned millions of his clients' money shorting the market here with the worst freaking timing in the world, and he's short again, and now it's major headlines. And I don't think people understand the levels of stupidity here behind what he's doing. You are not only shorting what is the strongest thing in the market when there's plenty of stuff on the sidelines that's a similar theme, clearly not as fundamentally strong, doesn't have actual earnings. You could be shorting Oklo, you could be shorting Quantum, but this moron shorts strength rather than shorting weakness. There's actually levels to his stupidity. Just because he got the short rate on the housing, and people who say he made billions, he didn't make billions. Buffett made billions. Burry made like a few hundred million. So, but people verbally stroke him off all day on social media, and bears worship him like he's some sort of god. And he's just not. He's very mid trader. Who got a call right that a bunch of people got right. And that, really in Wall Street circles was not even that, like, it was pretty obvious. It was only not obvious to retail, as are most things, honestly. Our Amazon idea, our short is working here. I was in that live show with Tony Greer, and I've been sharing this idea for a while, doing some Twitter spaces, and people have been telling me like, shorts aren't good here. Shorts aren't good here. We printed today. I mean, it's easy. Amazon still here. Another 5 points to the downside to come meet this daily EMA, and then maybe the weekly can come meet in the middle there. But that's just a reconfirmation to see if we're still bullish, right? So, yeah, your bullish trend is still alive. Obviously, it's at new all-time highs, but this is clearly an exhaustion candle, right? You get this big pop up on the weekly. It goes from green to red. That's a short. It's textbook. There's no if, ands, buts, or whatnot about it. And it's weird to me to see such good traders not realize that this is an obvious short. Bitcoin here is same thing. Same reason we're short Amazon here is the same reason why I wouldn't really be short Bitcoin here. You're so extended from the CMA here, right? Let's come back test like 106, 106 just, and just make sure we're still selling. This is pretty major support. Very likely we at least get a few bounces off of this before we get the real downside move, if it's coming. Yes, I still got good confluence here. Daily tried to flip positive, but momentum's back negative on the daily. And then you're actually 4,000 in the negative on the weekly, which is significant historically for Bitcoin, right? It's pretty weak. It's pretty weak. Despite that, we've gotten much weaker and still not broken this trend line. So just be aware of that. Another thing that's kind of like on my radar here is we've now dropped 22 points. 22 points in one day on the fear and greed index. That feels kind of crowded, doesn't it? That feels really crowded. So at the same time, I don't really know what's going to get the market up. We got AMD earnings after market close. I don't remember what else we have after market close here. Let's see. I always post this on the Discord for quick grab. So we got ANET, ALAB, Beyond Meat, Marathon, KGC, Upstart, Axon, Pinterest. I don't know. We could look at Axon again. Axon was tough. It was easiest to short as shares, but there was a short that I kept sharing on the socials, but it's a pretty hard short because there's not a ton of liquidity there. Oh, let me real quick just get this up over here just in case there's questions that pop up on the live streams. Yeah, that was such a nice plunge. We were sharing this big time in the 750s looking for that move to the lower 600s. Congrats if you caught that. It's still bearish here, but I don't think you want to take this into earnings at all. It's backtesting major support. Like a lot of the market is. We need those further clarifications to really size up. And I wonder, 6,800 was big and we're getting this gap down, but now I'm just still not that convinced. I want to back test that then fails and get shut back down there. Okay, then I'll start loading stuff up. I am still short on IWM. 240 here's a big entry. We're up and the small account we're up 28% on IWM puts here. We're getting reamed on Carvana puts, but things are looking pretty good. Palantir's another interesting put position right here. I went ahead and I had some weeklies that were up. Actually, I don't know how much we made on those. Let's check the Discord. We made 39% on those. I tried LLY, and honestly, I'll talk to Discord members about that. I don't really want to go over it on the stream, but it was a dumb thing I did, and I went ahead and cut them at like break even because, well, I guess I'm already explaining it. But this is, I guess, a mistake that a lot of people make. I originally set up LLY as a swing. And there's kind of a reason like you don't want to swing it here. If you're in the swing, it's fine to hold. But if you set up the swing here, you're too extended on the daily. And it's totally possible a name like this could do something like this, where it just kind of like levitates up until the EMA meets it. But honestly, I would prefer to be holding the swing. And we talked about this even in the recap video I posted yesterday, right? But I bought an intraday today with a swing because on lower time frames, it looks pretty good. The one thing I don't like is this little fake out on the 15-minute tells you it's probably going to chop. Oh, it's in Lock draw mode. That is so annoying. Okay. And Trading View. Stop trolling me. You can just break down on the 15 and it tries this reversal, then flips red again pretty much immediately to me, like just out of pattern recognition. I haven't back tested this and verified it, but to me, every time I see that barcoding, it means we're just like flat for the rest of the day. So there was a small trade because I tried to take it off the lows here and look for a swing, but honestly, I should have bought end of the week. So I put that position on and I was just feeling, and then I went out to the daily just to kind of confirm it looks good. Realized that I really can't hold that for like a week. And then it did this barcoding action. I went ahead and cut it at break even. And it might go up, it might have made some money, but anytime I just generally set something up, I think this might not be as helpful for new traders because when you're new, typically your emotions are going to be, you should almost always inverse your emotions or just like walk away and wait for them to chill. But I feel for me, if I set up a trade and I don't like the way it feels, then I'm probably just better off closing it and waiting until I set up a trade and I feel confident about it after it's actually after the money's actually in there and moving around. You know, because that's the ultimate test of what you actually believe. You know, you get an argument with someone and you think they're just being a dipshit and just arguing with you just for the sake of arguing with you, make them put money on the line. That reveals grifters very fast. You know, like people like Michael Gay constantly posting bearish stuff but won't show it to market. That's just a grifting asshole, right? That's not real convictions. That's not if you don't put money behind what you believe. You know, this asshole's been talking about market's gonna crash, we all gotta panic, but he won't short it. I'm sorry, that's empty words. No one should give a shit what you say ever. You're a loser. If you're in finance and you can't back up what you think with money, I don't give a shit what you say ever. Your opinion is worthless to me. For the life of me, I cannot find my other AirPod. What I just did with it. Oh, it's literally in the case. Okay, anyways. Abe, you got any comments on anything I said? You're in here, but you're quiet. While you do that, I'm going to see if there's any comments in the chats. I don't think the old man's here. That or he's trying to figure out how phones work. Abe is a good trader, by the way. It's just all we do is bully one another all day long, which is good. It's healthy. I don't really want. We are actually actively looking for adding more members to the team. It's not like we're in a hurry. I've put out like, you know, job. You know, it's not like there's like a we're hiring advertisement on X, but I have an open ear. But I think the last thing you want on any trading team is people to just kiss your ass and agree with you all the time. And that's why I love Abe, because we'll often take literally the opposite sides of trades. You know, he's more of a seller, I'm more of a buyer. And I think that kind of dichotomy from a trading group, if you lack that, can be really unhealthy because you kind of need someone to get some healthy pushback. Because it can be hard to check your own biases at all times. Just because, you know, we're human, we're so good at just constantly feeding, looking for, you know, even when we're doing data collection, we're doing research. It's so easy to just feed yourself the stuff you need to see to confirm your own beliefs. That outside opinion can be really good and healthy. Abe, I think I've noticed that you've.
I'm here now.
Okay, there we go. Anything?
I guess if I wasn't already leaning pretty heavily long in the Russell, I would be selling some more puts here, but I'm kind of at position limit for my size in there. That's really the only thing that I'm finding super interesting today is would have been a great day to not already be long the Russell and lay out some premium because you can sell all the way out to like the 2200 and collect some good premium in the Russell futures.
What kind of expiration do you have on that?
45 days. You'd be looking at selling the December monthlies. In the futures, the contracts are different, but it'd be the equivalent of the equities December monthly.
Are you
I think it's
selling
like
futures here?
I'm already in them.
Oh, okay.
Otherwise, I would be selling more, but they're just a larger product, so I try not to get too many contracts on.
And that's what I'm talking about for literally we trade the exact. I'm actually in IW inputs and I like shorting here. I will say
Hmm.
you probably have the better risk reward because you're right off the support. I don't know. I could be convinced to go ahead and lock in some profits. I am sitting on some nice profits here. But
And given that we haven't seen any actual relief to this, it's likely that we could go lower, but I still like that risk.
yeah, I think
I'm
that's
I'm cool
fine.
with owning. I'm cool with getting assigned contracts and taking contracts for a longer duration.
Yeah, that's fine.
So with futures work differently than equities. So like depending on what you're trading. So with futures contracts, a lot of it's cash settled, but if you trade in between expirations, you actually get assigned kind of like stock, you get assigned one futures contract per contract that you sell in options, whereas stocks it's 100. So like if you're trading the actual monthly expiration or like if you're trading say the weeklies in between the expiration for the futures contract and you take it through expiration, it won't cash settle. It'll actually give you the futures contract, just like whether you're, short calls or short puts, you'll either be short a contract or long a contract. But if you trade the actual expiration, then it cash settles. There's your educational moment for the day.
All right. So if anyone's still awake, I think probably two needs to rest here. I do have some puts. I actually like swinging these here. Because if you get a further breakdown from here, it should accelerate pretty nicely. 4 hour just flip bearish here. Daily's rolling over really nicely. It's a nice big gap up. Reversal, full reversal. And that previous high didn't have an RSI confirmation. It looks really good, like a short here. Let's look at IWM on a longer time frame here. About the idea of more highs. I mean, the monthly still looks really good here. You didn't confirm the high, and you're really not confirming this high either, actually. It's really not that great at all, quite honestly. You're still at a moment where you could get a reversal here, though. So maybe November chills, and then maybe you start to get those confirmations in December. Maybe. This still looks clearly bearish. I don't hate that. The real trigger for the IWM shorts is 240. So my position's a little bit smaller, and I'm looking to add to it if we break 240. And look for 237, 234 from there to the downside. Gold stopped me out, and this looked like a huge bummer. Um Something I'm going to talk about with Discord members in our review tonight is I cut my gold calls on the open, but I could have been a bit more patient just looking at the 65. I could have been more patient and waited to see the denial here and waited for that bounce. We just had so many positions. Like I was like taking profits, cutting losers, and just kind of cleaning up the portfolio after a big gap down like that. We were up a ton of money. And then I was focused on like get this out of the way because I need to get back to stuff that's gonna make me money, which was actually shorting this morning pop, on Amazon. So, but I should have been a little bit more patient with gold. Just a little nitpicky thing there. It's called having graceful exits. Wait for a move in your favor before you actually cut the position. When you're swinging, when you're day trading or scalping, not so much the case that you want to be doing that, especially like futures. It could be a little bit risky, but that is something to keep in mind. Let's see if we got any questions. And if someone on one of the live streams could tell me if you can hear Abe okay, that would also be wonderful. Because I'm unsure if I have him turned up enough. What are you looking for on Palantir? On Palantir, I just really want to come back into the high 170s and just kind of test this. That's really all I'm looking for. There's a lot of like consolidation in here, which means there's probably a lot of buyers. And then where you start to really put on size with the shorts is breaking this trend line though. I mean, clearly, right? We've held this trend since April. So I'm not truly bearish until we break that. This is more of I see exhaustion at the top. We're far extended from higher time frame EMAs. It means we're very likely to do some back tests, and it's still just normal bullish price action. But like I see a move like this on Amazon, and at the high here, you're 11% overextended from the bullish EMA. And I mean, it's not even like you have to do some sort of sophisticated back test to see that every time you get extended, you come back and you test this. Every single time. There's one-off scenarios where you just kind of hover sideways and then the EMA comes and meets it. But even then, like even when you just simply just look at this chart, that doesn't happen very often. So, okay, that's a probability I like. That's in my favor. Very simple trade. There's no reason to overthink it, right? Keep it stupid simple, man. And same for Palantir. It might become a buy then. Not something I would add to my long term, quite honestly. Unfortunately, I don't hold Palantir. I haven't held. I sold Palantir at like 60 or 70 or something. So sad, but if there's a big dip back to the 60s or whatever, maybe even to like the 120s, I'll be a buyer. It depends on what it looks like when we get there, but I think we will get a pretty major retracement eventually. Yeah. I was just doing the spaces earlier today on crypto, and everyone was saying, "No, I don't think Bitcoin will sell off when the bubble pops on the broad market." And I'm like, because it's such an important technology, and it's the same argument for people who say like, "Oh, I need to." You see the panic, right? These big people with big accounts, and I mean by following it's on X, not like actual portfolio size, are buying every dip. Things come down 1%, and they're like, "I gotta get it in my long term." It's like, even if my time horizon was a year or 2 years, I don't buy this shit here. You really don't think you're gonna dip from here? You don't think there's gonna be anything that causes the market to dip from here? The only reason you should add here is if you're just a DCA guy who just buys every week or every 2 weeks, and you're not paying attention to markets. Which, if you're watching this live stream, you fucking pay attention to markets. So it doesn't apply to you, right? And it's not a big brain call to say, yeah, there's probably going to be cheaper prices than this within the next year. I don't need to add stuff here. I just need to ride what I got, And even then, like I went ahead and sold on my Google at the high. And I haven't even looked at this today, actually. But yeah, look at that. Look at that exhaustion candle. Now here we've come back to the daily. So now here we pause, we wait and see. Okay, how do we act from here? Okay. This pullback, very normal price action. Even if you're a bull, you could take a tactical short here, protect your position. Because I mean, you know, that's a what the fuck moment. And I actually sold on my longs here. I was very happy. We called Google at like 160, maybe even 140. Do you remember when we called Google at, Abe? When were we loading this up? I want to say,
It was, I think, closer to 160
yeah, okay, yeah, that's probably
for
right.
options trades.
Yeah, that's probably right. So, and even here on the weekly, you're still pretty extended. So we'll see. You'll probably go pretty deep in the weekly if you do retrace this, because then you're probably going to come back to the 250s, which is still just really healthy. Hood is actually just gave a trigger here, Abe. You're still in these hood puts? I really like those. Do you want to talk to them about why you're short hood?
Yeah, because it's ridiculously overpriced.
Compare, well, I mean,
That's all.
last night you had the big explanation. Charles Schwab is valued at this and has this
I
AUM.
just look
And
at it and compare it to its competitors. And when you compare it to its competitors, I mean, yeah, it's making good money, but it's nowhere near $130 billion company if you've got these well-established companies that are generating, 3, 4 times the revenue. It's a growth company, so people are just speculating on its future potential success. That's where the value is coming from, not based off of what they're making. And I think they're overpriced. I was really surprised to find out how much they actually make from payment for order flow, though. I thought that was kind of insane.
Those are a really nice gap for a scalp if you get the breakdown. I don't think you're gonna get it before earnings, so it probably just fills this on earnings somehow. Either wicks down and then explodes, or it just blows right through it. That's is that tonight or tomorrow night? By the way, for people watching the stream, if you can hear that in the background, that is my wife playing with my 1-year-old. And they are having a lot of fun.
I'm not sure. For some reason, I was thinking that their earnings was tonight. I could be wrong.
It's tomorrow night. Okay.
Okay, I was wrong.
So we might get this moved tomorrow then. I don't know. I got a small lotto short on. Because I do like that idea. But and that and everything's been signed off after earnings. Tonight, I guess the big thing that we should be focused on is AMD. And I've said this again, and I guess I'm just getting really repetitive, but as many times as I say stuff, there's still people that will ask. So I guess it's always valuable to repeat again. But just look at this move we've had since the previous earnings on AMD. Okay? We've had a all right, we've had a from where we're at, we've had a 60% rally. Do we think that, especially the way last earnings acted, last earnings was a sell-off. Okay, now we're up another 60% after last earnings sold off from where it was at. Do you think that maybe it's priced in? Even if it is really good. Just maybe. I know it's a crazy thing to suggest to people, but maybe the probabilities aren't in your favor. What is this thing even pricing into earnings? Especially when all the major earnings reports have been sell-off event. But let's look. Let's get into the week. So you're pricing in about an 18-point move for earnings. Which actually, it really isn't even that high. Let's look at our monthly here and see how extended we are. I mean, that is just insane. Pretty much every time we get this extended from the monthly, this thing does a massive puke back to it. Pukes, and I mean, it's got the same setup. And you know, there's some bulls that I really like. Actually, holy crap. We've actually flipped bullish on the monthly though, so we don't have confirmations here. That's a bit odd, honestly. I guess I would just take that as a sign that we're definitely not at the end of a bubble. We're just doing a back test. Yeah, we could easily pull back to like 219. You've got a triple top on the RSI here, considering for the weekly. Yeah, this thing does have a major pullback back into the low 200s. It's probably a really good buy based off this monthly for a long term. This might be something that I actually am interested in. At $400 billion market cap, if they can even just capture 20% of the market from NVIDIA, which they're probably the only company right now that has the possibility of doing that, you know, it could easily be 800 billion. You have 2x from here. Doable, but I don't know if it's doable this earnings with the way that looks. If there is a pop, it gets sold off. So I got some lot of puts if they get burned. Okay, I'm just gonna short whatever pop we get post earnings. That's the way I would handle that. And with an 18-point move to the upside, I don't know. I don't think with how extended we already are. Pop to a new high. It's actually doable. Anything above that, and you're really pushing it though. I don't think lotto calls are worth it at all. Palantir giving a nice breakdown. If we can get a really nice like plunge into the close if we break this here. We got a half hour left until market close. That's looking real good. Let's get. I already closed my IBIT short. And I think Bitcoin's a little extended here. So let's get HUD up here for this breakdown. We're up 9% on the HUD right here. VIX over 18. If I can get VIX over 20, I'll buy some really short-term calls. I don't really think it's a bad idea here. It's probably better to just buy a short-term VIX call than short AMD for earnings. Because it will be kind of another hammering down from a big AI name. That was the Palantir effect we just had. So
Have you looked at Oracle and looked at this gap fill that we're getting interestingly close to?
yeah, I would be closing puts if I was in them.
I just did some long calendar spreads in there.
Yeah, I like that. At a minimum, we should get a small back test here just to confirm that there's still sellers.
I'm short calls in there that I'm debating on just taking off, but they're only out in November, and I think they're like the 290s, so they're not much left in them. I can't decide if I want to just close them out or.
If there's not much less, then let's close them out because you got more upside risk than downside gain. That's simple. That's a simple answer.
Yeah, but there's only 18 days left or 17 or.
To collect
I
what?
gotta,
20 cents per
I gotta look
contract?
and see what they're. I haven't looked at them in a while. I gotta look. No, I think there's over or there was over $1 and some change. Oh, they're only $1 now. Yeah, I think I'd milk that cow as long as it's gonna last.
I would close that. Just based on how. That's a pretty big downside move here.
I
You're going to
closed
at
them.
least
Calm down.
backtest it. Yeah, okay. All right. Any other ones got your attention?
Um, that are left in HIMS for option selling. If you like trading HIMS, which has been a great thing to trade this year, even though we came through earnings, I actually put on still really juicy premium in there, and
You cut
all the
out.
earnings risk is gone. So December strangles and HIMS. I went through a valley, but he was still with me. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
No, I was saying I like short strangles and HIMS.
Oh, shorting them.
The premium in there is still good, and the earnings risk is over. No, not shorting HIMS, just neutral in HIMS with short strangles.
Oh, got it. I haven't looked at my long term today, but I would imagine those puts I bought in there are dead right now. You said the premiums are still good though?
And HIMS, yeah, yeah, for the amount of capital required to trade it. Yeah,
I had to put some protection in there, even though I didn't want to. I felt fine with it. But I'm like flat, honestly, in those shares. I think this is actually one of my worst performers in my long term.
I really kind of like, and I put this trade on yesterday. I feel like you can sell puts and bonds here too, not TLT, the futures. TLT
ZB.
doesn't pay enough for the capital that it uses. Yeah, we kind of got all the shakeout from Jay Powell being mean and scary to everybody. I feel like we're kind of at a level where you could probably get away with selling like the 114s or the 115s, maybe even the 116s. I think I did 115s.
Um, I got distracted by Tesla. Let me get ZB up here.
Premiums aren't as juicy as they were earlier in the year, but it's still this this has been the gift that has given all year long. Probably one of my biggest winners of the year. If it ain't broke.
Yep, that's definitely for you and not for me. I'm not a big fan of how that looks. I'm honestly not a big fan of playing hymns at all here, quite honestly. Let me go back and look at the monthly there.
In December, I'm short the 34s and the 70s.
I
So
would
earlier today it was leaning slightly long or leaning slightly short. Now it's leaning slightly long delta because we've sold off the entire earnings and some.
I do not like how this hymns chart looks. Look at that monthly chart on Hims. It looks like it wants to go back to 30. And you're kind of breaking down on the weekly here. At the RSI is giving confirmation. I don't even have my iPad. Hmm. I might cut this one. I don't think I want to sit through a drawdown. Man, how did that earnings go?
It's just inside down. As far as the numbers, I didn't even look, but it was up on the open. Now it's sold everything, give it all back inside down.
Nah, yeah. I'm talking fundamentals.
Who cares?
I care because I care. I'll hold through bad technicals if I like something enough. I've been doing that for with MindMed for years. Let me see here. I'm gonna answer a few questions first. You are not better than Burry? Okay. I'm not really gonna reiterate that rant, but it is a funny title, and I definitely am. Burry's insanely mid trader. He got one thing right, and everyone remembers the one thing right. You can go back to the beginning of the stream if you want the full explanation. It's not really a controversial take among anyone worth their salt. Anyone who's familiar with that industry and knows of the actual legends and the today's living legends, they don't respect Burry at all. He's kind of a fucking meme. No one really thinks he's some genius. They just follow him for the memes. Okay, give me a second, guys.
All is steadily ticking in on the day. And I'm not sure where he went, but I also like Ethereum, ETHA here for short puts. I feel like the premiums are getting very juicy in there. If you like to fade things. I think I'm going to sell some more. Yeah, you can go all the way out to the 20 strike. in December, collect $1 for ETHA short puts, and you're buying ETHA at $19. 200 capital required to put that trade on. I like it. Just did it actually. In fact, I think I'm going to do some more. Yeah, I feel that 105 in those.
Okay, I'm back. Stream can hear me and you can hear me. Okay, yeah. I'll give Hibbs another day or two, and if I don't see a quick reversal out of this setup in Sky, I'm gonna sell it. Sorry, walk away there. My wife needed help, and there were some people in the yard, but it was just some kids who were trying not to fall on their ass with the rollerblades. So they're walking in the grass, which I don't mind at all. She was like, "What are they doing?"
Get out of my yard.
We're not really like that. We're not like that. We're chill neighbors. I'll tell you what. I was handing out Mr. Beast bars on Halloween, and it was so funny. The first trick or treaters that came, that it was like two little girls came by, and well, at first I asked for a joke, which I guess is just a Midwest thing, because I was talking about this with Discord members, and they're like, "That's not a thing." But I always had to tell a joke when I went trick or treating, so I was like, "Oh, tell me your best joke." Before you can have a Mr.
Mommy, the weird man is talking to me.
Well, she goes, okay. Why did the chicken cross the road? And I was like, oh, I don't know why. To get his other chickies. And I was like, well, why were his chickies already across the road? And she goes, oh, he's not a very good father. Which I thought was pretty hilarious thing for a 7-year-old to say. But I gave them these king size Mr. Beast bars because I wanted to be the coolest house in the street, and I know the kids love Mr. Beast. And boy, that works way too well. She went tearing down the street, screaming, like, he's got Mr. Beast bars. And then we had a crowd of kids. They're like,
when it comes flocking,
yeah,
like a bunch of seagulls.
They're coming on their bikes and their scooters and rolling over. I was out of those in like 2 hours. I was like, holy crap, I didn't buy enough. Usually I don't live in that big of a neighborhood, so there's usually not a lot of trick-or-treaters, but yeah. We went through those. That was fun.
VIX futures only up 3% here.
Yeah, it's pretty mediocre, and SPY's kind of recovering here, and the VIX is relaxing, kind of giving a good confirmation here. So I like having covered most of my puts, and mostly cash. I still have that IWM, which I'm kind of fine actually swinging for another day. I've got some solid padding on that one. We're still up 20% here, so thing is, this daily's about to flip here, so let's see if we can get a continuation there. It's worth the attempt. It's got decent probabilities. I really like the way that Eli Lilly is behaving here as well. This is really nice consolidation. I don't think I want to swing ahead of AMD on the upside, which
I'm not trading it for earnings.
in my portfolio for what I have swinging, it's not a terrible idea. If I had a bunch of sides to the downside, I would be hunting for some upside stuff to swing long just in case. That kind of like reignites the AI narrative and gets the market excited again, but I don't have the most sizing. I have a lot of cash actually, so I'm fine. I should actually double check for the small account challenge how much cash we have there. So we're 50% cash even in the small account. So I'm feeling pretty comfy there too. And I'm okay with these positions. VTYX still holding up well there too. So we like that. You get a plunge on Palantir, those premiums can go nuts. About 15 minutes ago, they were extremely underpriced, which is why I bought more of them. But I have a small position of 180s for the end of the week that are some of these are down 20%, some are flat, some are up. So they kind of did a slow buy there. Let's see if we got any more questions before we shut it down. I don't think we're gonna run up right to the close. I don't think we're gonna go live for AMD earnings because my wife's gonna go hang out with some friends, which means I'm gonna get some father-son time. Which honestly, father-son time with a 1-year-old is kind of boring, but I can't wait till this kid's older. We can play catch and stuff. But he's still the cutest thing on the freaking planet. A question here. If you don't like hymns, why wait a few more days? Just because it's a long-term hold. So if I have a 5-year plan to hold something, I don't really want to make an impulsive decision to get out of it. I consider that a pretty big deal. I'm not trading the shares here. I'm looking to kind of like not react to short-term stuff. So basically, what I do is I'll feel like selling something. Like I felt like taking Google profits for forever. For forever, I felt like taking these Google profits. Or even like Tesla. I constantly feel like taking profits on Tesla. And anytime I feel like that, I'm like, well, let's give it another day. And then the next day I'll be like, I'll give it another day. And I basically just do that every day. Anytime I feel like selling, I say, let's give it another day. Which I guess you could do infinitely, but for me, that works well. I don't know what will work for you, but for me, waiting a day, make sure I don't get overly emotional on some of the stuff I'm supposed to have diamond hands for. They didn't miss on EPS. Reiterated target of 6.5 billion revenue by 2030. They're still in discussions with Novo Nordisk. Is this old info? I mean, honestly, this still looks fine. Gosh, it's still 111% year over year revenue growth. Subscriber base is growing at 38% year over year. They're still selling these compounded GLP-1s, which I thought that they were literally told by the FDA to stop. Or is this in reference to Wegovy? So the weight loss business expects almost $1 billion in, yeah, that's not true. About over 700 million in revenue in 2025, excluding branded semaglutide contributions. So that's important because if they can reestablish a partnership, really they should buy like one of these like inflammation companies and sell that as like a package. This all looks pretty good though. And then they also got the men's stuff, which I think people are underestimating how good testosterone sales are. Yeah, the market just might see them as overvalued, but I'm gonna wait it out a little bit longer. That wasn't super red flag for me. Looks like the thesis is still alive. Might be something good to add on dips, quite honestly. I like what's coming over the horizon. I would love to see them be able to bring down peptide prices, honestly. Peptides are freaking miracle drugs that do insane things. I don't know if any of you guys watching this have done like a peptide plan or something. It's wild. And they're going to start releasing some, and I want to see if they could bring those prices down eventually, or make their own and get that down. I do like their like Costco-esque. You know, Costco saw chicken prices going up, and they're like, "Oh, we'll make our own chicken farm so that we can keep our prices low." And I would love to see Hims do stuff like that too.
They're straight up selling it in the clothes.
Yeah. What, Hims?
Mm. No, the market.
I mean, Hims too. Hims no exception. Yeah. All right. Oh, yeah, they're really selling IWM. Oh, can we break 240 before the close? Oh, it's up 20%. Now we're up 34%. I need to swap out NVIDIA for AMD because I have these AMD ladder puts. That's looking good. That's looking good. Oko was the one I didn't take today. We're getting short on time, but review that Oko chart. We're giving everyone watching this stream homework. Review the Oko chart and DM me why it was a great short up this morning. Just give me your best effort. Learning moment. Because it was. See if you can figure out why. I don't think I want to adjust anything. I think we're well set. There's no reason to have FOMO here. I've locked in some great profits. We got a lot of cash going in tomorrow, and I like our positioning. We're ready to trace, and we're net short here, and I like that. I my like I love that plunge on AMD. Market is like yikes. I mean, honestly, dude, these AMDs have almost come back. Do I really want to hold these AMD puts into earnings? Because now they've run up a shit ton. I think I say nah. 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 I think I'm good. That's quite the plunge right there. We got a minute left. No, I can't get filled. I think I'm just going to take that. Or at least do that. There we go. Yeah, I was a little too large into my lotto sizing because I was looking for the sell-off into earnings, but when this thing rallied up like that, I was like, whatever, I guess I'm going to hold it. However, that was enough of a plunge into the close. I totally just pointed at Amazon when I meant to talk about AMD. Same chart basically, but with that rundown into the close there, I'm gonna take that and I'm gonna roll down for a little bit, take some of those profits and readjust. And I should probably do that in this small account too, honestly. Yeah, let's do that. Do I even have time to do this? I think I have to.
We got less than a minute.
But I'm Mr. Speedy Gonzalez. I'm a fucking pro,
That's
baby.
Speedy.
I am. I did it. This is what I do, Abe. How dare you question me? I did them both at the same time. I didn't even use hotkeys. That was all mouse work. Okay, they got magic hands. You know, my hands so magic they don't even let me go outside and play sports. They're like, keep that guy inside. He's too dangerous. He's a danger to society. The people can't compete. They gotta. That's the real reason I got fat. Oh, well, that's the market close. I gotta go. I want to watch my son, give my wife a break. I hope you all learned something. Hopefully you learned something. You know, I don't get on these just to talk shit and be a big-headed douche and pat myself on the back. That this is supposed to provide you with actual value, and I hope it does so. I hope you learned something. I hope you make some money. Wish you all the best. God bless. All right. Have a good one, guys. I'll live stream in the morning tomorrow, so see you then. Turn on the alerts so you don't miss it.